Hiya, this is my latest video. Any time I think about writing a paper these days, I end up doing a video instead. I'm getting lazy on that. I did just do a fictional Kindle text though, and that was like more writing than normal, so there's two sides to that one. Anyway, this video is about, it's sort of about don't identify and hide behind others, but I'm bringing in a particular side of that, the feeling and emotional ego. Now, and two, I've got like a personal constitution about how we're meant to relate to each other at the end. But just to start off with then, that feeling emotional ego, that isn't something that's different to the way I normally describe the ego as that which identifies and hides behind X. Like, I mean, my definition of the ego, of the human ego, is a lot of people's psychology, and there's some people who have gone beyond that ego. It's a lot of people's psychology. It's a low development, really, and it's about like I say, like you're identifying with this, so that's your ego, and you're hiding behind it, that's very ego. You're relying on it to speak for you, you parrot it, you hope it's right, you have validation from it, you're insecure because you need that, or you want that at least, and it's as if like you've tied yourself to it, so your fortunes rely on it. It's okay in sport, and it doesn't have to be football, it could be a sport I'm not interested in at all, rugby, basketball, volleyball, tennis, it's okay. But when it becomes like serious issues, I think it really is harmful. And obviously it's harmful to the person if that's what they're doing. But anyway, I'm sort of on about that ego as I define it, but in this video I'm on about that emotion and feeling that comes with that, because obviously, as well as that, it's not just like a robotic feeling, not just about a robotic thinking, like I'm identifying with this and that's it. It's like obviously got feeling that motivates that validation need. There must be some feeling and emotion there in everyone who does that. And I'm thinking that feeling and emotion is not a reason or excuse to do that identifying with, hiding behind. And why isn't it a good reason or excuse? Because it's harmful, because insecurity isn't good for you, it's not good for us. If we put it as a we here, like say, it isn't, we do this, we need to get over it sort of thing, because it's, I'm speaking for myself, for someone else, or speaking for the general, and so like in the general sense, I can say we shouldn't be doing this. So, you know, so it's not about so much, or it is about responsibility to others as well, but that's not the motivation to get over it here. The motivation to get over it is for yourself, for ourselves, for our mental health and maturity. Now, what does this mean in practice then? It would mean that we work together, seeing the other's point of view when they are not just trying to beat the other side or to express a prejudice, because trying to defeat the other side and not seeing the other side, and you're just projecting a prejudice, well, that's all the ego stuff we're trying to get over. So when we're working together. Now, so for example, this should be done on issues that perhaps create more heat than or more noise than is warranted for the general public, considering, for example, I'm thinking of the trans issue here, where 8%, according to YouTube, are bothered about it. Now that 8% is sliced up in half. Like half of that 8 are like for, and the other half are against trans. Like, what we need to do here is facilitate that 8% to come together. I mean, so I'm outside that 8%. I'm part of the 92% who really interested in that issue. I'm thinking about the world changing from UFOs, and I'm thinking about the artificial intelligence jobs bloodbath. These things create affect everyone, basically, not 8%. Now, but still, we have to act like the adults in the room where these 8% are fighting like cats in a bag. So what we need to do is bring them together. We need to say that they need, like I just said before, they need to try and understand the other side, and this would require something like ultimately, at the end of the day, people have a right to decide what their identity is. I'm not too keen on identification and all that, but you can't just say it's illegal. So, but we need to maybe consider whether there's an illness present there. That isn't to say there is. Maybe almost all of them are not ill. So it's not prejudice, because I'm saying if they're not, they're not. Right? If they are, they are. Now, it's very important that we're not later down the line saying we just halted people doing what they wanted to do for their identity because we had this compromise. It has to be real. You have to genuinely think. So for example, a person might not be so much as ill, but too young to have decided on this, and it's just a phase. Of course that's going to happen. So that sort of thing should stop anything going further. I mean, but then if when they got older they're still thinking the same, then maybe it wasn't a fad. Now of course mistakes will be made. I know it's a big mistake to make, but to have a sex change when you're not really wanting one. But you can't possibly say that no one can go through with it in case of that. People make mistakes that cost them their life by swimming in waters that are too deep and so on. You don't ban everyone from swimming. So that's what I think should be the compromise. So you bring them together, these two sides. I mean, there's people who make a mistake of being heterosexual for so many years when all along they were gay. So it's just so it's happened on the heterosexual side, and we can't abolish mistakes, but what we can do is bring the two sides together in agreement. So I just think this is just my idea of how you could sensibly see both sides. Anyway, that's their issue. That's just my bit of help. So, and now I come to a general thing, which is how we should relate together, because remember, I'm against the state superstructure. I think it's corrupt. It's a propaganda machine. It automatically corrupts the person, because their propaganda, once you're in that state superstructure, you're sort of like complicit with the megaphones that the news media has. So my personal constitution would list the following: work together as one people, not to split off from. The state is split off from us, but they disqualify themselves from the discussion by having an unequal voice. If you've got a group of people and someone piles in and he's always shouting at everyone, you kick him out of the group. Secondly, don't try and beat the other side, because then you're not working together. And also the previous point I made about the state superstructure, then you're not working together, you're just blasting out your view. Thirdly, don't speak from a voice of prejudice, because then how can you be working with the other side that you're prejudiced against? You've got to work together. Fourth, don't identify with and hide behind power. It corrupts the mind. You just end up parroting them. That could be like a majority view, not just the state superstructure, not just the noise of the news media or an aspect of it. So yeah, don't do that. Don't identify and hide behind power. Now, if you don't identify with and hide behind power, that requires ceasing to consume the billionaire-owned news media and ceasing to listen to political leaders, parties, as you can never know when they're propagandising and when they aren't. Not on political issues anyway. We now know that the state is a power, control, violent propaganda rocket, basically. So, that's the video.